episode of Chatty Bros with Bekah and Jess.
Hello. I don't know why, but I feel like this is going to be a little hectic.
Why?
I don't know. I already have that feeling like we might go off like, the beaten path a lot.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think that's fun.
Yeah. Hi, broads. Hello, my prince.
Hey, baby girl. How you doing?
Long time no see.
Long time no see. We've been stuck in the house for weeks.
It is funny because Evan is normally like, you were going through a time where you were gone literally 24/7 for like 3 months, like the past 3 months.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the past 2 weeks, you've had a little break. So you've been working from home and I'm not used to you being home. and so
I'm not used to being home. I'm like, what am I even doing here?
I know. Well, I'm so happy that you're home because I was like so sad when you were gone so much. But now Evan has like, he gets a little stir crazy. So even when he's working at home, he still gets stir crazy because he needs to. You're the type of person like you have to be doing 75 things at once during the day at all times.
Yeah,
like,
I have a problem.
I think that's something that a lot of people don't know about you because you know how people who are really, really busy don't talk about how busy they are? Evan's a classic case of that. Like you create it for yourself, but you're slammed 24/7 and no one would ever know because you never act like you are.
Yes.
So then when you have these downtimes when you're home, Evan's been doing a lot of like, I'm working in the living room and all of a sudden he comes in from the studio and he's like, hey, gotta show you something. And he shows me like dog videos for like 45 minutes. And I'm like, I have to get back to work.
Oh my God. Okay, listen. Yes, I have a problem. I need to feel like my nails bleeding in order to feel alive. So I definitely have an addiction to work. But, listen, when I'm working a lot, you give me a hard time about how much I work. You're always like, you work too much. You're gone all the time. And then I'm home. And then all of a sudden it's like nitpicky about how I interact. So like, what do you want?
I am a
You want the perfect thing. Like I come in at the perfect time.
Yes, I am a diva and I have high demands.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing.
No, listen, it's because I miss you so much when you're gone and I feel like anxious when you're gone a ton. And then when you're home, I just like to give you a hard time because I think it's cute because you're always popping in. And I'm like, hello, I just watched a Cocker Spaniel, like, look up with sad eyes 15 times via he sends me like all these DMs while he's in the next room of dog videos.
Well, I'm mostly just looking to figure out what kind of dog exactly is our Chihuahua mix. And so I'll find random videos that I go, whoa, this kind of looks like her. And so I need to share that.
I know.
It's important information.
It's true. It's true. We did take the doggy DNA test though, so we do technically know, but I don't know then. Doggy DNA. But anywho, broads, Bekah is currently enjoying what looks like amazing family time in Mexico, a much needed family getaway for her. I know her like in-laws are there. It looks so nice.
It looks amazing.
So
you guys just swapped.
I know we did a little
trips.
Mexico swap trip. Yeah. So you're the one who I called in to do.
Thank you. It means a lot. I got pulled up from the under ranks, like when a professional, it's like, okay, now I'm on the.
Yeah, you're like every other Friday. Yeah, I'm pulling you in for a Thursday BIP first recap.
This is the pros, and I'm like my shot. I don't want to blow in front of the coach.
Yeah. So make sure it's really good.
Make sure it's really good.
Yeah,
okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'll stretch.
Okay. Well, I'll start off by saying this. So this episode, I don't know, we didn't actually, we watched the episode together, but we made sure we didn't talk a lot through it so that we would have clean original takes.
Yeah, because sometimes when you talk about it when you're watching it, you kind of burn out all the ideas. And then you kind of can come in here and be like, wait, what did we talk about? What did we not talk about?
Well, my thing is too, then I feel like, I'm like, hey, broads, we've already talked about this alone for hours. So, here's us rehashing our inside conversations.
Trying to remember our takes on things and our ideas.
But we didn't talk about this. How did you feel about the episode overall? I felt like it was kind of, up and at the very end, all of a sudden, we get some massive cliffhanger.
Yeah, big time.
And then I'm invested. But for the most part, I feel like the episode was really slow.
I felt like they were trying to kind of stretch out not much happened. Like not much actually happened.
No.
They like a date, and that was kind of it. Like they didn't do much. There wasn't much going on other than a couple little emotional issues back and forth, but like they were definitely trying to stretch.
They had made like 10 minutes about a potential storm that was coming, and we saw nothing.
That whole storm bit was like classic. Like, every local was just like, no, you're good. Like,
no, like you're
just
okay. Like, yeah,
hour.
just
like,
chill. And they're just like, no, we need to make it dramatic.
Yeah, they're producers like, nothing's going on. We should do like a whole thing.
I talked about this last week, and this was my prediction. And again, I am sorry if this was a devastating storm that I am unaware of. That was hard for those living in that area. But been to Puerto Vallarta.
Yeah.
Numerous times.
Yeah.
And it is a stormy place. It's so fun to watch when you're covered, like watching the crazy storms. And when they were showing the storm footage, Evan and I were like, we've been in numerous like typical daily storms in Puerto Vallarta, and this doesn't feel that wild.
It looked like a normal thing. Like normally at night, it's like crazy lightning, crazy like flooding. And then in the morning it's gone, which is exactly what happened.
And so my prediction last week is I was like, they are going to use this as a drama to try to stir up something. And I mean, obviously it was the fact that like we saw them like filing one by one. It felt like an apocalyptic scene from a movie. I was like, this is very 2021 energy that we were filing one by one.
Yeah. When they had like the whole crew on the beach, like, we got to get out of here. Like if it was actually a thing, they would have showed like local news clips of like hurricane, whatever coming towards, but it wasn't. It was just like a normal storm.
And then also the whole thing too of like, this is what I didn't understand, and maybe I'm missing something, which is potential. This is where sometimes Bekah is like the queen of being like, but let me give you some behind the scenes tea. Right. You and I don't know this so much. So this is just us stabbing in the dark. But I'm like, why are they doing this whole like numerous couple montage of I'll never maybe see you again? I'm like, hey, Tia alluded to like, what if I don't live? And then they're doing this whole like, I'll never see you again. And I'm like, we all know they're going to the same hotel. And that specific space that they're staying in, that's like on the beach, and right behind it is like this hotel that's lifted off of the water that like 1000% they just went and they took those cars and drove half of a mile up to the hotel and stayed in the hotel that night. And then we see a clip of Ivan being like, well, at the hotel, it's like they were all at the hotel together.
Which is like attached. It was like up the street.
Yes.
And they're like, we got to get off the beach.
And like,
it's bad.
Like maybe we're never going to see each other ever again. I'm like, you guys will literally see each other in a minute and a half when you get out of your separate vans and go into the hotel. Like,
it was very like, producers are watching with the drama on the beach and be like, we don't have anything. Like, there's not much to work with. And then we're talking, and then all of a sudden they're like, well, there is like a slight rain coming. Yeah. Do you think that we could drama this up? Yeah, like a basic storm
coming. Or even if it is an intense storm. That's my thing. There's intense storms. They're often, and I'm not saying that it wasn't maybe an intense storm, but it was maybe one that it was like, hey, we got to move you guys because everything in this BIP landscape is open air.
It's gonna get wet.
You guys, the wind is going to be hitting you. All the camera equipment's going to get fucked because it's going to get soaking wet. They didn't. Normally you prepare for this, but maybe they didn't. But if anything, everything's open air, and the rain will come and hit you and start flooding.
Sure.
Again, when I was in Puerto Vallarta, I talked about this on the podcast, on a different podcast episode with B, that I was like, when we were there last time, it was like 2 inches of water everywhere, and then in the morning it was gone. But it's like, maybe that's gonna happen.
Sure.
And so that makes sense to me. They have to then move them to the hotel because it's gonna get too wet.
Yes.
But not like we're afraid for your life.
At least lie to us and say like 3 days later. And
then like, give us a little bit
or
of
just
something.
Like break some stuff. Like have a chair on like the roof. Have like a tree broken. Have like glass everywhere. But it was literally like 3 hours later, and they were just like, we're back.
They zoomed in on one palm branch in the water.
Not even a palm tree, just a branch that had fallen. That would have fallen anyways under natural gravity.
It's like, come on, guys. Like,
or the guy just trimmed it and he was like, can we have that? And they're like,
yeah. Give me that. Throw it in the pool. Yeah, there was
Put a chair in the pool. Like, make it a little more dramatic.
bit of something. Like, you could have. I mean, like the cushions looked perfectly dry that were on the sand.
Yeah, like people who work at the hotel were just working the whole time, and they're like, oh, where are those people?
Where did everybody go?
Where are the freaks going? Yeah, it was so ridiculous.
But that to me was like, that's just then proof that like it was just.
Yeah, like at least do videos of them in the hotel with the wind and have them be like, oh, we're freaked out right now. And make it a little more like immersion. But the fact that they didn't do anything and they just showed up 2 clips later.
And then we have this clip of Ivan that's coming up.
Yeah.
Where it seems like, quote unquote, rules were broken at the hotel, or he said something about like going against the system, which I'm assuming alluding to maybe he went to Chelsea's room and they hung out and they had like a romantic conversation or more. I don't know. But I'm like, show us that shit. Like, why, if you're going to like make this whole drama, like you better fucking have footage next week of the behind the scenes at the hotel with Ivan being like, I'm going to go, down the hall because I know Chelsea's room is there. Come on.
Yeah, because and that explains a lot to me.
What do you mean?
Just about what happened between them, because I was so thrown off. So like, if there's some drama there, I'm like, oh, okay. That'll at least explain to me like how that even happened.
The Chelsea Ivan thing seemed so random.
It was I was like, either this guy has the biggest game in the world, like he's able to just literally make out with someone in seconds, or there was conversation. There was something that happened.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I could be wrong about this one because there was a time when all the Bachelor people were like uniting in New York and like having outings. And I feel like Ivan and Chelsea might have met each other at that point, maybe, but I don't remember all of the pictures that were posted and everything. I feel like
curious
everyone knows
to know
each
like
other.
how many people have hooked up that we don't know about, that like just like random drunken nights at like a reunion or something that they just hook up and then like you'd never hear about it, but it's like.
I mean, if I was single and I was in the Bachelor universe, it'd be like everything is fair game. Like you go to these Bachelor parties.
Chill, dude.
But I'm just saying it's
like I'm out there just banging everybody, dude.
I'm just saying if everybody's down, like everyone's just hanging out, like come on, it's like
just Bachelor orgies.
Well, here's the thing: you're a group of people, and you're a small group that understands a very specific niche. Like
it's like a family.
It's when they're hanging out with like the too hot to handle people, right? Sure. It's like this reality TV, romantic reality TV. You're like, we get each other.
Sure.
We get the edits. We get it all.
I know. I know what you've been through.
It is. It's true. So then you're doing your thing, and you have these parties, and sure.
I feel like you're excited about this idea.
I am.
And I feel like
exciting.
You need to chill out.
It's exciting to me. So should we dive in? Should we dive in first to the oh, you know what? First we got to take a little pause.
Okay.
We got to take a little pause.
Little pausey?
To chat about some SpawnCon.
Some SpawnCon.
Some SpawnCon.
I love that.
That's what the people say.
What is SpawnCon? That's just like
sponsored content.
SpawnCon?
Yeah.
Wow. Do people say that on podcasts, or is that like behind the scenes lingo?
That's like
hey girl, you got a new SpawnCon coming in.
That's like a kind of like Reddit lingo a little bit. I think SpawnCon. I think it's fun.
SpawnCon just sounds like one of those like events that you go to like at the event center.
Oh my god, yeah! Like I got us our tickets to DragCon coming up. I'm so excited.
So fun.
But no, SpawnCon, yeah, it definitely feels like an event that you would go to, and it's just all influencers just like hawking products at you. We're just like, hey.
It's for the general public to go get sold by influencers.
Yeah, it's just lines of influencers.
That would actually be like a really great idea. Like, you know how you go to these like different cons, like like DragCon or whatever, and then your favorite drag queen is there, and they're just in their booth.
Yes.
And then they just say, how do you? It would actually be a great idea to have it be brands.
Yeah.
with their influencers.
Yeah, because then you get to meet the influencers.
You get to meet the influencer, but then at the same time, you get like to sample the product or like whatever.
You know, that's actually a really fun idea. It's like
kind of a genius move.
It's like when you go to the fair and they have that area where you can go in and they're like testing all the like QVC style products and you get to like play with it. It's so fun.
SpawnCon. That's a vibe.
It is a vibe. Because then
the fans will buy the stuff because the influencer is there. Like,
well, and I also be like, oh, I want to like meet some of my like favorite influencers,
YouTubers, TikTokers, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then like the influencer can go to like a couple different brands.
I mean, I think this is a genius idea.
Let's start it.
And you could have so many different companies coming together. A uniting of
let's
companies
edit this out and
to
then
sell
come
you
out
things.
with it.
Well, with this, just picture me. I'm in a booth. Evan and I are in a booth.
Yeah.
We are looking at you and we are talking to you about a product that actually is like a huge game changer in our household. Big time. This is huge. Moms, dads, aunts, uncles, babysitters, caretakers, anyone else that has little learners in their lives, listen up because we have to tell you about our favorite learning activity partner for kids of all ages, KiwiCo. KiwiCo is the project subscription crate that is created to help teach science, engineering, and art to kids of all ages in ways that are fun and easy to understand for them. KiwiCo is an absolute lifesaver for so many families we know. It makes an excellent rainy day emergency project, Christmas, or birthday gift. Ember's like always doing these, and she's like, whenever it shows up, she's like, is that what I think it is? Oh, she loses it every time. Or it can be used to help get your kids back in the swing of learning as school picks up again. Each month, your kiddo will get a KiwiCo crate delivered right to your door that focuses on one specific topic. The crate will have a variety of projects to help with comprehension, plus all the supplies needed to complete each one. Yes, I said all the supplies. They have everything. It's so cool. That means you'll have way more time learning and playing together and way less time searching for child-proof scissors. Oh my gosh, that is my personal favorite part about KiwiCo. I'm not running around in our junk drawer trying to find everything to help her with these projects. To say Ember is obsessed with the KiwiCo boxes is a massive understatement. Like Evan was saying, she's learned so many cool subjects too, like cityscapes and how skyscrapers are built and how weather patterns work. And honestly, I'm learning a lot doing the projects with her as well. And seeing her sense of confidence and accomplishment after she completes each crate is just the greatest feeling in the world. I love KiwiCo so much. KiwiCo is redefining learning with hands-on projects that build confidence, creativity, and critical thinking skills. There's something for every kid or kid at heart at KiwiCo. So get 50% off your first month plus free shipping on any crate line with code CHATTY at kiwico.com. That's 50% off, half off your first month at kiwico.com. Promo code CHATTY. That's KiwiCo, promo code CHATTY. Broads, every now and then I, like every other person on the planet, experience periods of just feeling overwhelmed with life. And come on, can you blame us? The world is on fire. Literally, sometimes kids are kids, work never ends, and we're living through a pandemic. Not to be dramatic, but this is a lot of stuff for any one person to deal with. When I feel like it's just all too much, the best thing I can do for myself is to just talk it out with someone. Oftentimes, just that can make me feel so much better, or at the very least, help me figure out how to deal with everything I have going on. Talkspace is here to help you no matter what you're going through by providing the support you need through online therapists. Talkspace has thousands of licensed therapists in dozens of different specialties. Maybe you just need to talk through one specific problem, or maybe you suffer from something ongoing like addiction or depression. Talkspace will match you with a therapist that is best suited to get you through it. And because no one needs another thing added to their to-do list, Talkspace makes it easy to prioritize your mental health. You'll be able to send and receive unlimited messages with your therapist in the Talkspace app, and you can schedule live video sessions from wherever you are. I know something that held me back from prioritizing my mental health was the massive expense that it can be. Talkspace wants to make sure everyone has access to the help they need, which is why a whole month of Talkspace will cost you less than most single in-person therapy sessions. Start feeling better with a single message. Match with a licensed therapist when you go to Talkspace.com and get $100 off your first month with promo code CHATTY. That's $100 off when you use code CHATTY at Talkspace.com. Alrighty. So speaking of therapy, which I felt like I felt like I needed after watching this whole Kendall and Joe situation. Should we talk about that first?
Yes.
What were your initial thoughts?
My initial thoughts were like, it's funny. Sometimes I remove myself from this whole thing and I think of what I would do.
Sure.
But then I actually think about like what it would be like to watch someone you truly love make out with someone else.
Yeah.
And I just feel like all bets are off. Like if we had like,
if we got
separated and you were like, and it's just like, you know, you're still fully in love, but just the things didn't work. The schematics of the whole relationship didn't work. And then you went out on a limb to like get them back. And then you have to watch them make out with someone else. Like, dude, I will say, I don't know how she kept it together.
I don't either. And I feel like I've been seeing a lot of like heat towards Kendall, which I don't understand like at all.
Is it like, why are you trying to break up his relationship?
I know. I think it's more of just kind of like, oh my God, why are you here? Da 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 da.
Sure.
And like, though I understand people being like, there was, you know, that moment where Joe said, you know, you could have, why didn't you say this to me before we went on the beach? Listen, my thought, you know how you feel about someone who, like an ex that you'll always be in love with. Like you and me, for example. There was a moment in this episode where I felt like I was going to crumble into a pile watching when Wells asked Kendall, which, talk about it like just a punch in the gut. When he asked Kendall, do you think you're just going to be comparing every guy you ever meet to Joe? And I remember feeling that when you and I broke up. And I'll never forget where I was. I had started kind of like going on a couple dates. Yeah. And it was all just And then there was this guy who all the girls were like super into, who was super cute. Everyone liked him. And he, for some reason, liked me and had asked me out on a couple dates. And I had been on like 2 dates with him. And I remember driving home and just being like, this sucks. I'm not into him at all. You know what I mean? And just feeling, okay, you know what?
You're welcome. Sorry to screw you up forever. My bad. Oh, tell me more about this sob story. Listen, I get it. Okay.
You're so stupid.
It's the price of doing business. No, I know. But like,
all of this to say that it was watching it, I was just remembering that moment and feeling. I was driving home from that date and I remember being like, will I compare every guy I ever meet for the rest of my life to Evan, and feeling that dread. Now, not to burst your bubble, after a certain amount of time,
easy.
I remember meeting someone who I actually did really like, and I wasn't comparing this person to you. Yeah. Now, ultimately, of course, I got, I couldn't get out of your web because you were just too charming and charismatic. But at the time, I then had finally that moment where I was like, totally. I actually met someone who I could work with and I really liked, and there wasn't this comparison game. It was just a new person.
Well, no, that's like what time does. Like even Kendall said, she was like, I don't, because he said, are you going to compare? And she's literally said something to the fact of like, well, I know that I'll never get someone as good as him, blah, 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 blah. Like it was something to the effect of that. Yeah. And I was like, ooh.
It's like no, you can't
think that straight when you're like watching your want to be boyfriend make out with someone else, that you're just gonna have to like you can't think straight.
No, and you're filled with like there's that feeling of dread. Like I was saying, that feeling when I was driving home, going, will I always compare everyone to Evan? And is this always just gonna be like, is this a lost cause? And if you're thinking about it timeline wise, it's like they broke up and they've been broken up pretty much just the pandemic. So life's been weird and tough, and dating's probably been really hard. She's probably been lonely a lot, and so it's like I totally get being in this place where it's like, yeah, it's been a year, but like I'm not over it yet. Yeah. And you know what? I'm really not over it when I'm on the sand and seeing you falling in love with somebody else. Why I think she might have come. My guess is, it's again, the producers, they can convince you of anything. And she's friends with a lot of the producers. And there's probably a conversation where it's like, hey, Joe's coming on the beach.
That's my question.
Are you okay letting him go?
Because that's my question. The whole time, the first day she walked in, I was like, why is she here? Like, if she wanted him, she could have called him. They were dating. It wasn't like I'm going on the show hoping that I see this one guy I've never met. It's like, But now that I'm thinking about it, I wonder if it was one of those things where she was kind of thinking about him, then the Bachelor, then the Paradise kind of casting / talk started happening, and then she thought to herself, well, Joe's probably not going to go on. We already did that. And then all of a sudden, wait, is it Joe going on?
Yeah.
And then she gets a call saying Joe's going to come on. Like, it could have been one of those where it was too late. Where it was like, you know what I mean?
He's there already and you were going to go.
Yeah.
And now, as far as we know, maybe, Kendall obviously came down and the narrative that we saw was that she beelined straight for Joe and was like, these are my feelings. What we don't know is maybe she didn't know that Joe was going to be there. She was quarantining because they're like, hey, you're going to come a couple days late. And 2 days into her quarantine, they go, by the way, Joe's already on the beach. And then for 48 hours, she's going, oh my God, well, I do care about him and I should probably talk to him first and make sure the situation is handled right away because he's there. And then the feelings start to spiral because you're in Mexico and maybe you're not over the person yet. Who knows?
Sure.
But what I do know, because when everyone's making those comments of what the heck's wrong with her? Why would she go on? I'm like, there are so many things that we don't see. And we also don't see conversations that were had with producers beforehand of it being kind of hey, calling her once Joe's already there.
Sure.
And being like, hey, Kendall, Joe's been here. He just landed for quarantine. Are you okay coming on the beach? He might find someone. Are you over him? Are you ready? And it's all of a sudden it's oh my God, I don't know.
Yeah, she could have been just in this zone where she was like, maybe we'll run into each other. Maybe it'll spark again, blah, blah. And then the Paradise stuff came up and she's like, oh shoot, I got to speed this up.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. And she probably, without the Paradise stuff, I'm just thinking about being in that position. Without the Paradise stuff, I'll take it back to you and me again. I was avoiding you.
Right.
And I was still in love with you. But you know what pushed me to reach out to you was when I saw a photo of you and another girl.
Yeah, right.
And
That's what I mean. When the
is
threat
he
of
dating
losing,
someone?
right? The threat of losing.
I know that we're not supposed to be together right now. So I'm not reaching out to you being like, hey, I think I want to get back together because I know it's not. But it's oh my God, the idea then of seeing you with someone else, it's wait, has he moved on? I don't know if I'm ready to let go yet.
Yeah, because even when they talked, the issues were the same.
Yes.
It was still I don't want to move. You don't want to move. Mm-hmm. We don't want to change our lifestyles. Nothing. It wasn't like she was I'm ready to move to Chicago. It was the issues were the same. I think that she was just having a really hard time closing that chapter off in her life.
Yeah. And we weren't seeing a Kendall desperately coming and being please come, please leave with me. Please choose me. If in fact it was literally her coming and being I don't know how I feel. I just know that I still love you. I'll always love you. And where are you at? Yeah. So it didn't feel like I'm coming in because I'm trying to get Joe. So when he's saying this whole thing, why didn't you talk to me before? It's a little bit I'll be real with you. I mean, I feel like Kendall, Joe, and Serena all handled it as best as they possibly could. But I had a few moments of irritation with Joe in this episode. There were a couple moments where I was him saying why didn't she contact me before? I'm you know this process. You know how it works. Yeah. You know the behind the scenes. And there were a couple moments too where he was randomly throwing out to the group I don't know why she would. I don't know. Yeah. There were just a couple moments where I was I feel like he feels like he's in the power position right now because he's in love with someone else and she's alone on the beach, kind of, apparently she was with Ivan from The Get and we didn't see that story at all. So everyone was she's just trying to get a rose. It's no, they were actually talking from the beginning.
My thing is there's probably also a little bit of trying to make Serena feel good.
Oh, right? You mean Joe
imagine we're dating and then my ex reaches out and says some stuff and then I'm talking to you about it. There's gonna be a level of I gotta say that she's, you know what I mean? I gotta really play into the fact that you're my girl now. So I can't be but
some of that stuff was in the ITMs too. The private interviews where there was a little bit.
But if he's smart, he knows that she's going to see that at some point.
You know what? That's very true.
You know
that's a good game to play.
Always remember everything you do will be seen by your girl.
Yeah.
Or guy.
And he cares more about what his current girl's going to see than what
exactly.
His ex is
so there's
seeing.
A level of he kind of has to play the role now of she's got to go. Why is she here a little bit?
Yeah. True.
He shouldn't have done it, I think, but I understand at least.
I was just so wowed. First of all, I was so impressed by how Kendall handled it. with everyone being like, why is she? I'm like, if I would have been Kendall, I would have been
oh my God.
weeping. I mean, we saw
So brutal.
we saw Bummer Joe,
Dude,
the first
sad boy Joe, emo Joe.
Emo Joe, the first 48 hours was just like slopping around the beach, so depressed.
That was a bad first impression for me.
Yeah, because you didn't know Joe at all.
I mean, I knew a little bit, but like that, I was just like, dude.
I know you did that. You weren't into that.
He made a turn, and I was like, I like him a lot now. But that first like couple episode or two where he was moping, I was like, bro, how old are you? Like,
oh no,
the whole like you going right into a TV show to mope. Like, I'm saying mope at home, but like you're on a television show with your friends. Like, can we not?
But
like,
he's not really with his friends. At first, it was all these people that he didn't know. I felt for him the first 48 hours.
But it was so dramatic too. It's like the walking on the beach.
But Kendall, like, I mean, she got in. He was with someone.
That's what I'm saying. She was way stronger than him.
She got in and she literally was like, she's hanging out with everybody. She's having these moments where like she's having a hard time watching. She walks away. We weren't seeing any sad montages of Kendall at all.
Exactly.
Kendall impressed me thoroughly. And
Strong.
also Serena.
She was awesome.
I mean,
she was just comforting Joe and like cuddling him and just being like, I know it didn't affect us. Like,
so understanding that like your ex is here and you need to talk with her. And yeah, we just had this moment where like we told each other we were falling in love with each other, and then you had to go talk to her, and that might, if I was Serena, I'd be like, this is ruining my moment. Sure. And she understood. I was just so, if I would be Kendall, I would feel like if you and I had broken up and then you started dating someone else and the person you were dating handled the situation like that, I would feel so seen by that person and feel like, oh, wow, I could actually continue to be friends with Evan one day. And this person is like the type of person who is so understanding. I don't know. I was so impressed.
Yeah. Would you, okay, out of spite though, would you want me to be with someone who sucks? Just in a way of like, I know that she's not as good as me. Or would you want me to be with someone who's great and then you, like, you know what I mean? Because it's almost worse when someone handles it so perfectly. Because then you're just like,
damn it,
I'm trying to find a way to hate you.
Yeah, you're like, I get why you're in love with her.
Yeah, she's beautiful and amazing inside and out. And you're like, why are you, like, you're trying to be mad at her, but like, she's great.
No, it's true. That's a good question. I mean, I would say immaturely, yes. I would want for a brief time, I'd kind of want someone who sucked. So I'd be like, wow, look at him. Just out of spite.
Downgrade.
Sure.
Yeah.
But when you love someone, like I love you, she loves Joe, that it would be like, yes, in the moment you want that. But ultimately, like I want you to be with someone who is amazing.
Yeah.
So, I'd want you to be with a person who's wonderful.
It's like that funny quote, like, success is not enough. Everyone else must fail.
Yeah. It's so true. Well, I mean, now Kendall ended up removing herself, which I think was the best thing that she could have done in the situation. She talked to Joe. Heartbreaking when they were like holding each other.
The hug was gnarly. I felt the hug. I was hugging him too, and I was just like, I was
you were in his
him.
Embrace.
You know the smell when like a person.
Evan looks at me and he goes, "Oh my god, think about them smelling each other."
Yeah, because she was like
no,
in
you're right.
his shoulder, and she was like rubbing his back, and I was like, that's when you're like smelling the clothes and the, you know what I mean, and all the memories come back.
Oh,
oof,
man.
That hug was brutal.
Yeah, that was rough.
I was struggling with the hug.
Yeah, you were getting a little emotional.
Like, stop with the hug. You're gonna kill yourself with this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're gonna like your mental state is gonna like start crumpling once you smell like a goodbye with like the smells and the hug and the feeling of being held by that person. Like, oh, you can't say goodbye that way. You just gotta walk away.
Well, and then you saw her when she was driving. She was so emotional.
Brutal.
Yeah, it's after you have that deep hug. It's like all the memories. But I'm glad that she left. Also, she is currently on IG. She's like not engaging with any of the Bachelor in Paradise stuff on IG. Mm-hmm. And she is on a trip with like her family in an RV doing a California like foraging trip. So she's like foraging like herbs and she's just like, and that's what she's posting about, and she's just like living her life, and I'm happy for her.
Good for people who are into stuff like that.
I know,
foraging.
We need to be more outdoorsy.
I mean, I'm outdoorsy. We're outdoorsy. We like to go to the beach and stuff. We're just not real like listen, I don't want to pay to work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand.
Like that's my thing. It's like I even like camping because it's a vibe, but it's like if it's just all work, it should be at least free. I mean, at least free. It's like the dude ranches, where you go and you just like pay to like clean up cow shit, and you're like, what is your problem? Like, people who work on farms grind to make $1. And then when they hear people are going to pay to do what they grind, and it's insane to me. It's like, yo, I paid $300 a night to go comb a horse, pick up its shit, change out the pig food. And the people who work at the dude ranch are like, these people are crazy, dude. Like, this is insane. Like, people are paying to do this.
Don't you think that it would be so clearing for our brains if we, like, tomorrow we're like, hey, let's pack up our car. We're going to go to a dude ranch for a couple days, and we're just going to shovel some shit and, like, not, like, listen to any podcasts or watch TV, or we're just going to shovel.
I would be down for the whole, like, thing if it was like, oh, my friend owns a ranch. We're going to stay at their house. We're going to go horseback riding and do our thing, and we're also going to help them kind of work, and it's kind of like a thing. Yes. But to pay, to walk away from it, $1,500 down because you went 3-4 nights, to be like, oh, I came back with less money, covered in shit.
And wonderful shit memories.
Yeah, like, at least the only way I do it is if, like, oh, I'm going to my friend's ranch. We're like having like fires at night and talking about life and drinking. And then when the day we work, we help them with it's like a whole thing. But to just go to random people you don't know and be like, hi, can I please pay to work here? Like, it's the most insane shit ever. Shout out to anyone who owns a dude ranch. You're the real heroes, because you hacked the system like crazy. Anyway.
Anywho. So, okay. Lil Jon shows up with more men. First of all, loving Lil Jon as the host.
His energy is amazing.
His energy is fantastic, and I'm not surprised because Lil Jon, I've seen him on reality TV shows before, and he's always so fun. I'm so obsessed that he is so invested in the drama, and that he's loving bringing in the guys. And then later on in the episode, when he sits down with everyone, he's just like, so, Chelsea, there's a couple guys vying for you right now. Like, he's so invested in, like, what's going on. It's so good.
Like, now that I see this, I'm like, oh, David Spade played it way too cool. Like, I think David Spade is way more into, like, the whole thing.
David Spade is constantly Insta-storying. Like, he's super invested. But
he knows what's going on, but he kind of played it, like, cool the whole time. He's like, I don't even know what's going on, really.
Yeah.
Where Lil Jon's a little bit more secure, I can tell. And he's just a little bit like, no, I know exactly what's going on, and I'm into this.
I know all of your names, and I know all the drama that's going on, and I want to ask the questions. I loved it. It was so good.
He's like, I have a bunch of hit songs. I don't need money anymore. I'm just going to come here and be myself.
Yeah, he's just like, I actually enjoy this. I'm a reality TV fan. I like Bachelor in Paradise, and I'm having a great time.
Loved it. Huge
fan.
I
loved it. Lil Jon, you were laughing so hard because was Mob Boss?
Oh, yeah. So James, he goes, oh, look, it's Little John.
Little John.
Like, Little John. Like, hey, man.
Oh, it's Little John.
Here appears Little John. Apparently that is his name. Is your first name Little, last name John, or is it because you were small as a child? Like, it's just so, like, mom and dad. Like, dude, it's not...
It like pierced through the audio.
Yeah, it was just like
Little John.
Little John.
It sounded like a computer.
It was like, come on, man, bring that pizzazz, bring the personality out.
Oh, Mob Boss.
Mob Boss, gotta love him.
Okay, so Lil Jon brings out Ed and Damar, which you did not watch Tayshia's season, which honest to God is really upsetting for me. And at one point you need to watch it because it's like one of my most favorite seasons of all time. Tayshia was so good, even though it was like in quarantine, so you'd think, but she was such a good bachelorette, and the guys were really good that season. So Ed and Damar are from Tayshia's season.
I remember dipping in. I would like see you watching and I'd dip in and watch a little bit.
I mean, you heard me like going off about shit, but you didn't know who the people I was talking about were.
Because I recognized Ed.
You recognized Ed.
Well, I just recognized him. Like once you would kind of tell me, I was like, oh, I remember at some point that guy working out like feverishly, like trying to burn off a lot of like, you know, stuff going on inside. So like I just remember that guy doing shoulder shrugs. But other than that, I don't remember anything about him. I just must have walked by right in the time.
He had the infamous shoulder shrug scene where he's just, the shoulder shrugs are so high and his face was just like.
Well, he's so jacked, but he's so not flexible. Like he walks just like.
Yeah, no, there's no flow. The man doesn't do yoga. That's for sure. Movement. There's no like Pilates or yoga going on. No. It's just heavy lifting.
Just shrugs.
Just shrugs. Only shrugs.
He wants the traps to like go over his ears.
The traps are close to being over his ears.
The body, you know what? I've never seen someone more awkward in their own body in regards to like, it feels like he put on a muscle suit. He looks like a guy who put on a muscle suit and he's kind of walking around with it. Like, I don't really know what to do with all this muscle.
Yes.
Like he walks around like it's gonna break. Like he kind of like.
No, he walks.
Like I might bump into something and shatter this.
He walks around like it's gonna pop.
Yeah.
Like it's like inflated.
Yeah,
there's like air in it. And it's like, oh gosh, if I hit a sharp corner, it'll go poof.
You know, he hugs you like this.
Yeah, you know, he probably just like, it seems like he very quickly developed the muscle. Like maybe he was like, maybe like a little bit of a skinny guy and he like took some supplements and like hit the gym hard and fairly quickly developed insane muscles.
It was definitely like I'm going to show him.
Yeah.
It was like, I'm going to show those bullies or those people or whoever I didn't like in high school. Like I'm going to show them that I'm going to peak later on.
Yes.
Because there's even just the way he carries himself and his hair and like the manicured perfect eyebrows and everything. It's just kind of like, I present to you the final product.
I'm just like.
It just is not, it's not flowing.
I don't remember why I didn't like Ed. Well, I guess now I kind of remember. So in Tayshia's season, I was not a fan of Ed. Bennett, the guy who was like very.
Yes, I remember him.
Bennett, Ed was his like henchman, and Ed was just kind of always following him around, being like, "Yeah," and like and like doing these little like I don't know, and they were always talking about like how intellectual they were and how everyone was dumb. It was just like he was just irritating, and he didn't bother me during this episode though at all. Like he seemed nice enough, but on the show, I have a lot of heavy feelings about Ed and memories about Ed. But then when he right away asked Natasha on a date, I was just like, why aren't they sending Natasha? Like, is Ed really on Natasha's list of like who she wants? It's like Dr. Joe and Ed. I just don't, though, love Dr. Joe. It just doesn't seem from her reaction, like Dr. Joe was on her list of who she was hoping to see. I don't think Ed was either, but her and Ed started macking and she was giggling and it was a thing. And so, you know, my brain goes, I don't know how this is happening.
I still don't buy it. I'm being force-fed these people I don't necessarily like because it doesn't seem like it's magic. I mean, let's be real. The guy is not like a lightning rod of personality. So it's just like...
Well, that's the thing. It's like Natasha is 10 out of 10 in everything.
Yeah,
right?
She's funny. She's beautiful. Everything. It's like,
so I'm just kind of like, Ed? Like, I was just like, Ed. So I'm not assuming that this is a relationship that is going to continue past Paradise.
It's not electric.
So I'll just say I'm excited for whoever Natasha ends up dating in the future and to see that person on Instagram because I just do not foresee Ed and Natasha. I just not Ed.
No personality.
Not Ed. No. Even though I will tell you this, when we had Blake's mom on the podcast and we said, who do you love? Like, and she said she loves Kenny and she loves Ed. So I'm like, maybe
Ed's chill.
Maybe Ed's a wonderful guy and I just didn't, I didn't pick up on it on the season. So I trust Emily Moynes. So,
or maybe her son is just friends with Ed.
I don't know. No? I don't know if they're really close friends. I think she just loves Ed and his interactions with Mama Moynes.
Mama Moynes.
And Mama Moynes. Okay, so then DeMar pulls, at first he pulls Chelsea. Aaron is quaking, clearly. DeMar, I'm so excited. I wish DeMar would have come earlier. DeMar was one of my favorites from Tayshia's season that we didn't get to see enough of. So, Aaron's all sorts of nervous. But then he pulls Marissa, and we hear that Marissa...
I was sweating.
...had been waiting for DeMar, like that he was on her list. I thought that he was going to ask Marissa on the date.
I was blown away when he chose Chelsea. I was just like,
from the commercials,
whoa.
I was like, I thought it was going to be Marissa 1000%. Now, maybe it was because he had a better connection with Chelsea.
Maybe.
I thought that when I was watching them interact, I thought that he was going to choose Marissa because it seemed more flirtatious.
She was kind of gushing too.
Yeah.
And she was telling him all like, I was waiting for you to get here and all this stuff. And I was like, whoa.
Part of me wonders because DeMar and Riley were from the same season, like how close to friends they are. And maybe DeMar's like, I'm not going to do that to Riley.
But he did take her on the quick little thing.
But he should pull it. He doesn't know he's coming down. He's like feeling out what's going on. You know, maybe he wanted to meet Marissa and Marissa was taken. Oh, no, wait. Okay.
Light bulb.
Broads. Instagram has shown us in recent days, Deandra, your love. Ivan, you know how she had given Ivan the friendship rose? And then Ivan gave Kendall a rose.
Yes.
He did not give Deandra a reciprocal friendship rose.
Oh.
DeMar and Deandra, specifically, I think DeMar was waiting to meet Deandra.
Oh, I could see that. That would be fire.
Waiting to meet her. And when Ivan didn't give her the friendship rose, DeMar was all over Twitter.
Like
being
pissed.
like, no, like posting photos being like when he doesn't give her the friendship rose and like him crying. Like DeMar vocally went on Twitter being like, I went there to meet Deandra and I came and Deandra was not there.
Like by a week. That sucks.
Yeah. And then Ivan posted a photo with him and Deandra and said something like, you know, that how much he loved her or whatever. And then was like, I have a friend that I can introduce you to. He tagged DeMar.
Wow. I love that.
On Instagram. And so I'm, you know, I don't know, like, it doesn't seem like DeMar is, after the end of this episode, it seems like Chelsea's more attached to Ivan or Aaron. I hope that maybe there's a romance after with DeMar and Deandra because I love them both so much.
So much great. So, like, they're, aside from the fact that they're both 10s, like, they both have like some of my favorite personalities. Yeah. Even just a little bit I've seen of him, like he's just like
he's sparkly.
He's got like a swagger. He's funny. He's cool. He's got like energy. Like I like him a lot.
Like he's a very sparkly personality.
Yeah, I love that.
And Deandra is just
like cool,
just so cool.
Yeah, that'd be a fire couple.
Do you see these nails that I have right now, broads?
Yeah.
I am such a simp for Deandra that she did these nails on her Instagram and I saw them. I took a screenshot and I took them to my nail place.
That's amazing. Because
I was like, they look so good on her. I need the nails. Damn. So that's how much of a fan I am of Deandra.
That's number one right there.
Yeah. So DeMar didn't then end up taking Marissa, but we did have all of a sudden this moment where Marissa was like, I really like Riley, but even in my interaction with DeMar, I'm realizing that Riley's not giving me a lot emotionally.
That was rough. Yeah, that was rough because, you know, personalities usually work in a couple different ways I've found, which is like, if you're structured and responsible and like got your shit together, you're generally going to have a little bit less like sparkle and like intimacy when it comes to your ability to like connect with everyone all the time because you're putting so much of your emotional effort into like being consistent and being like put together.
Sure.
And then you have the people that are like the most electric and the funnest, but then a lot of times maybe their lives aren't
disorganized.
As a little bit just more so like they're less cognitive and more like, I guess it would be right brained or whatever. So you're always going to be tempted to like want whatever your partner doesn't have, right? So if you're with someone, all the stability, you're like, I love the stability, but I had this interaction with this person that was super fun. Vice versa.
It's like how I always was like wanting to see you cry. I was like, oh my God, when you cry, I'm like so turned on.
Right.
But then all of a sudden when like you start to like start crying, like Evan one time tapped into these deep emotions and he was in like really heavily emotional for a couple months, and then I was like, "Where did Evan go?"
It's like I saw some meme.
So sorry.
I saw some meme that was just like, "Why don't they cry?" And there's a guy cries, and the girl goes, "Ew." Like girls want guys to cry
about
on
me.
command. Like in certain moments during a romantic moment, that's what they cry, but like not about life.
It was just more too, it was like, I'm like, you are very like, you are like stable, structured, you think you're not hyper emotional about, certain things. And so then, it's always just kind of like, well, but I wish that maybe you'd cry sometimes. And all of a sudden when you have an emotional, spiral and I was like, where'd Evan go?
Ew. I didn't. I'm just kidding. But no, we have like, people fall in love with the things about them, but it doesn't mean they're perfect, right? It's like anything. So I think that Damar was giving her that thing that Riley doesn't have in spades, which is just like sparkly, electric, fun, intimate, right away, able to connect quick. Yeah. That's not his thing. And so
Riley's
that she was
lawyer,
probably a little starved of it. In the moment,
then
that led to what we saw. But I'm more just saying, like, he comes in, he's running around, energy, throwing the arms up, and Riley's a lot more like cool guy, composed, and so that can be exciting.
Yeah, I completely resonate with that, and I feel like you said, you want kind of what like you don't have, but what I loved so much, and I am such a fan of Marissa and Riley together. What I love so much is, she was tripping a little bit and she was having some conversations with some people like, I'm concerned because he's not giving me these things. Like, he came over and asked me how I was doing and I said, I'm doing like okay. And then he's like, I'll come right back to you. I have to get into this deep talk with Ivan. And she's like, have the deep talk with me.
Yeah.
What I loved about what went down with Marissa and Riley is that he like heard her when she said, this is kind of where I'm at. And it was like, he heard her. And even though it's not easy for him to open up, and then he got into why, and he talked about it on Tayshia season 2. We had an episode where Riley talked about his family and opened up to Tayshia about a lot. And it was really intense. And he talked about on Tayshia's season that it's hard for him to open up. And here are the reasons why. And I love that when Marissa was like, hey, this is kind of where I'm at, like, talk to me, that he was like, as hard as it was for him, it was like, okay. Like, and he opened the fuck up.
They both are so mature. Like the classic immature move would have been for her to just start flirting with Damar and like make out with him and then like jeopardize the whole thing with Riley, and then Riley would have freaked out, and you know what I mean? Like that would have been how like half the people do it. But the fact that she went, I'm not going to ditch a good thing I have. I'm going to try to get what I want out of the good thing I have. Mm-hmm. And then him going, I struggle with that. Here it is. Like it couldn't have been more textbook.
Oh, it was perfect. And when he was opening up, and it was so emotional. And
he wasn't defensive either, which was huge. He could have been like, what else do you like? You know what I mean? But like
in stark contrast from the Tia and Blake situation, where Tia was just like, "Can you do things for me?" And he's just like, "What are you talking? What
do you want from me? More than a simple conversation?" And it was just like
the most defensive thing ever.
He freaked immediately. Like imagine that guy in a real problem.
Oh, it was just like, dude, you guys have known each other for 24 hours and she just said like, hey, you're not doing stuff for me. Like imagine him in an actual situation. What a goddamn nightmare.
So Southern, by the way.
What a nightmare.
I like when the man pursues me, courts me, takes me in his buggy down to the water, gets a fishing pole out, catches me fish, dresses it. Takes my bonnet.
This is you've never been to a dude ranch or to the South.
I just loved how I was just like, I do like when a man courts me. It was kind of funny, just like how conservative Southern it got with just like, well, I do like the attention of a man in my china pot.
I'll never get over that.
I do declare. I kind of went like Southern there.
Yeah, it was like a little Georgian.
I went like a little more Louisiana there.
I don't know. I'm not sure. But anyway, this is a stark contrast.
And he's like, what do you mean? I do me. And anyone who doesn't like me doesn't love everything and you're just like, what are you talking about?
I could not believe that. That was so, I was so embarrassed for him. I was like,
he panicked.
Stop immediately. I knew I was getting, and everyone was just like, oh my God, he's so hot. And he came in, I was just like, I'm just getting these bad vibes. I don't know what it is. And I'm like, okay, this all makes sense to me. It's very much that energy that I was just, I was waiting for that energy to just be like, I will not hear you out because your opinion matters zero to me. I am correct. I will take you out on one date and then I will ignore you.
Right.
Just like, okay, like, yeah.
Him and Noah were talking,
Yeah, for real. But then, the stark contrast then was Riley, where it was like not defensive at all. Yeah. Just like not just not defensive, acknowledging that he knows that it's a struggle for him and being like, yeah, it's hard for me to open up. And not only am I going to tell you that it's hard for me to open up, I'm going to tell you why it's hard for me to open up. You know, full communication,
with full like.
Yeah.
Raw. Yeah.
And then, oh gosh, when he was crying and she like pulled him in and she was like, talk to me. I was like, oh, I resonate with this so much. Just like seeing him open up. And then it was just like, you then feel the intimacy that she felt like she needed. And I'm sure then that it was as hard as it was for him. It was then a special moment for him opening up intimately in that way as well. And then when they had the little like ITM with him afterwards, so he was just like, I just want to wake up on Sunday with my kids and my wife and making breakfast. And I was just like, I can't handle this.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Too much.
Because he even could have been defensive and been like, what? Oh, so one guy walks in and all of a sudden you need more from me?
Yeah.
Like, you know, I could have understood if he would have been like, you haven't been telling me this. And now all of a sudden some new good looking guy walks in and you all of a sudden need more.
Nope.
It feels a little bit like, what? But the fact that he was like, no, you're right. It was just like, damn. It was gorgeous.
Perfect. 10 out of 10. All right. Before we talk about Kenny and Mari and that date situation, can we take another quick little pause? Broads. Evan feels very passionately about this.
Yes.
Broads. For the longest time, I could not find the perfect drink. I would have a beer and instantly I'd feel like I needed a nap. Wine tends to give me hangovers. Cocktails require me to be in a very specific kind of mood, you know? Anywho, the search is over because I've finally found the best beverage. I am obsessed. It's 100% my go-to now, our go-to, and that is Juneshine Hard Kombucha.
It really is the perfect drink. I agree. It's light enough that you have it for like a day drink or a night drink. It's refreshing, but not sugary or overly sweet. And believe it or not, it's actually full of some pretty good stuff like probiotics. Plus, it's gluten-free and low in sugar. I'm obsessed with these things. Every time we get them, I just burn through the whole thing.
Yes,
and then I'm like, where is the backup?
I'm like, do I not have any for myself?
And like all good ideas, a lot of other hard kombuchas quickly follow Juneshine, but there is a big difference between them all. Juneshine uses only the best ingredients like green tea and honey instead of black tea and sugar, making it taste smoother and less acidic than the other competitors. I agree with that entirely, by the way. It's the best.
It's the best by a mile. I mean, basically, Juneshine is the champagne of hard kombucha. I'm not joking. Juneshine is different than any other drink. I feel so much lighter and brighter and never wake up with a sugar hangover or upset stomach thanks to the quality, functional ingredients. We are a Juneshine home. We love it here. And just for you broads, we worked out an exclusive deal for Chatty Bros listeners. Receive 20% off plus free shipping site-wide. We recommend trying one of their best-selling variety packs. It's a great way to try all of the delicious flavors. Go to juneshine.com/chatty or use code chatty at checkout to claim this deal. That's JUNESHINE.com/chatty, juneshine.com/chatty. Juneshine can be found also in over 10,000 stores across the country, including Whole Foods, Safeway, Kroger, and Publix. Broads, being on your period can suck. Like, I'm sorry, I don't care how many people I see dancing in a field on a tampon commercial. Bleeding for a week straight is just, it's not a pleasant experience, okay? And I can't be convinced otherwise. However, it is a semi-unavoidable fact of life for a lot of us, so we should at least be updating our period care products to make the experience a little bit better. And I have been loving FlexFit lately because they're basically turning period care products upside down and giving them the upgrade they so desperately needed. FlexFit products prove that you can really have it all. Period care that lasts through the day is body safe, environmentally friendly, and comfortable. My personal favorite is their Flex Cup, which is a reusable menstrual cup that lasts for years and is super comfortable to wear. And trust me, I know menstrual cups can look intimidating, and honestly, they can look confusing, but a Flex Cup is made with beginners in mind. After using Flex Cup, I don't see myself ever going back to tampons ever. Also, if menstrual cups aren't your thing, I am obsessed with their Flex Disc. Evan, you know about their Flex Disc without knowing about their Flex Disc. Because
really?
Yes, check this out. It's something different than I've ever tried before. It's this flexible disc surrounded by soft plastic that collects instead of absorbs. It lasts for 12 hours. And this is why you know about this. It's the only product that allows you to have 100% mess-free period sex. So sometimes you and I are having sex
and I don't even know.
And you have no idea that I'm on my period because I have this flex disc in.
Flex disc for the win, baby.
Yeah. And it's super, super comfortable for me too.
Really?
I love it. Yeah, it's amazing.
Oh, wow,
it's amazing. So say goodbye to cramps, put sex back on the table, and lend Mother Nature a hand. Go to flexfits.com/chatty and use code chatty for 20% off Flex Disc starter kits or 10% off your first Flex Cup plus free US shipping. That's code chatty at flexfits.com, flexfits.com/chatty. All right. We have the Kenny and Mari date.
Mm-hmm. Yuck. Yuck. So hot and so gross at the same time.
Okay. I am actually on pins and needles waiting to see Bekah's reaction to this because Bekah cannot handle the food play.
Yeah.
She starts to actually like physically dry
Even if
heave.
it's like the sweets?
Even the
like
sweets,
cream or whatever?
it's like any sort of mouth contact. So she struggled real hard last week with the whipped cream between Riley and Marissa.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that didn't bother you, did it?
No, it
Maybe
didn't.
the big toe?
The toe was gnarly. Yeah, definitely had no interest in that. But especially guy toe. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Guy toe's rough.
Yeah.
Girl toe, no problem.
Sophie was
Guy toe,
killing
bro?
me, our guest last week. She was talking about it just being just like a bunion toe because it's like in the gym. She's like, that toe is just bunioned out.
But I gotta hand it. Marissa was just like, down,
that's what
dude.
That's why I was like, okay, like, yes, I'm not into sucking a potentially bunion toe, but I'm like, I respect they were like so vibing on each other.
I love when people are just down.
And it's whipped cream.
Yes,
So I'm like,
it's sweet.
I can handle that.
It's desserty.
Then they took it to the bedroom.
What is chocolate? A aphrodisiac.
I don't know if whipped cream is an aphrodisiac.
But whatever, it's in the same family, it's in the sweets family.
Yeah, it's sweet. So it's kind of like, all right. They have taken it to a level that is so, sorry if this is your kink, but a taco situation, like carne asada and salsa being licked off of someone's body.
Well, no, you forgot the main ingredient. Sour cream. Like, the name alone describes the non-sexiness of it. Hey, man. Hey, producers. Just because cream is in the word, just because it's whipped cream or sour, doesn't mean you can just swap them out. Sour and sex do not go together. Okay? At all. So don't think in terms of what would be a good thing here. Sour. While you're licking someone's body, the last thing you want to taste is sour.
I'm not even a fan of sour cream in general. I'd be just like, who
wants to lick sour cream in general?
No, that's so gross.
If you like sour cream, you put it on something, you eat it with something. But like just to like take a spoonful and eat sour cream would be disgusting, let alone licking it off someone's body.
Straight up. First of all, watching this, I looked at you right away and I'm like, what if someone didn't want to do this? Like, I know for myself personally, like, bravo that they're down to like be comfortable getting fully nude and whatever. I'm like, I would not feel comfortable completely disrobing and getting on a table and just having like tacos covering my tits, like, and like
smashed avocado,
and like a palm leaf over my vulva. Like, that's not for me so much. No. Like, it's just, I wouldn't feel comfortable. So I was like, what if they don't feel comfortable? Is this something that they like vet them for before, like, are you going to be comfortable if you're like a plate and like you have someone like licking sour cream off of your body? But they both were like, they were definitely into it, so that wasn't an issue.
I do understand that if you're on the beach, you're so horny, you're even like rubbing on your person for days, like at some point you're just blinded by the horniness. But like, let's also talk about this. Sour cream is one thing mixed with like body lotion. Like, you know that she had like probably some sort of like scented lotion on.
That is a point that I hadn't thought about.
So licking scented lotion already is gnarly. Well, it has like a pungent thing.
And they are so sweaty because you know how hot it is there.
So you know that she has like scented lotion with a little bit of sweat, so it's kind of runny.
He's probably covered in sweat.
And then
he's probably covered in fake tanner, let's be real. If anyone has fake tanner on, it's Kenny.
100%.
So she's like licking Saint Tropez off of his body.
With sour cream.
And
a little bit of smashed avocado and meat. Hot meat.
No, it's probably lukewarm. You know that's been sitting there for a while. It's even worse.
The real victim of this whole experience
was the chef.
Was the poor lady.
I mean, the poor chef was...
She's just like, what?
In the corner.
I got hired to cook food and now I'm watching like a porn go down? Like, what is this?
With sour cream.
Yeah, she's like, this is a bad porn to start with.
She's like, she made the food and was like, oh, maybe we're gonna be like doing like a taco bar or something with what I've made. And they're like, no, actually, we want you to have them eat it off of each other. And she's just like, these ingredients, really? Like, I have some dessert stuff in the back. Maybe I can whip that up for you. They're like, no, make sure it's meat.
Make sure it's hot to lukewarm meat. A variety of salsas and sour creams. Thank you. What?
So when Mari's doing it to Kenny, that's on the sour cream. But I felt like she was taking a finger and putting the sour cream down his thighs. And I was gagging, don't get me wrong. But then when the roles reversed, Kenny was pouring it on her like a souffle. Like I'm sorry, Kenny's done this before. The way he didn't use his hands, the way he held it, and the way and he dripped that so quick. I was like, Kenny's done this 5,000 times before.
He was like rubbing it.
And then he rubbed it in like a massage oil.
Now she has to like take a full shower to get off the like in pores like sour cream.
He was like massaging her leg like the sour cream was some sort of massage oil that they were given.
You know that they were confused. You know they were like, it feels so good to be touched by my person, but this is so fucking gross.
I mean, I don't know. Mari came out and she was like, let's do this thing. Like I don't know. They seemed very into it. I was confused watching it.
I was
now,
so grossed
especially
out.
When the sour cream at one point ran off of her chest into her hair. And then he took a taco off her tit, fed it to her, and then took a bite himself.
Yeah, that's also not a sexy food at all to share, to like both look at each other while you're like mashing meat. It's so confusing.
It's meat, dude. Like I will never get over the lukewarm meat.
Meat is not a great sexual thing.
Oh my god.
That's like, that's food you sit down and you unbuckle the belt.
Yes.
That's like food you feel very unsexual after eating.
You eat the taco. We eat tacos and then
like,
we watch a show and then we go to bed without having sex.
No, yeah, you're like I'm post meat, man.
I'm post meat and sour cream. I'm not
like light sushi, salad. That's all like some fine shit. But
some like a nice little creme brulee.
But just like your mouth's on fire from the hot salsa. You're bloated from the meat and sour cream. Like you're not. It's a weird one.
But they liked it. And the taco play makes her realize that she is falling in love with Kenny, and they exchange. She tells him, or he tells her, or no, she says it first. She says that she's. He says it first.
No,
he says that he's falling in love, and she repeats it back. And Kenny, that romantic son of a gun, is like, I never say this shit. And he's like,
bro,
yeah,
I never
man.
say this shit, bro.
He's like, yeah, man. He wasn't even looking at her when they were talking. I think I looked at you and I was like, I think Kenny's a little shy.
I think so too. Yeah, I agree.
We were also arguing for like 20 minutes and I didn't hear a lot of their conversation because Evan and I were arguing whether Kenny is Botoxed or has an unbelievable skincare routine. Now, I celebrate if it's Botox because I feel like the male Botox is very underrepresented. And I feel like we need, there are more guys that get Botox than talk about and they don't feel comfortable talking about it. And it needs to be talked about.
Sure, I'm down. I mean, I'm down to hit this. Let's get it. I'm starting to look. I could use a little de-aging.
The male Botox representation.
But you could put a hockey team on his head. Like, it's so slick and shiny.
But then I was saying, then we were arguing because I was like, he was lifting his eyebrows and there was movement. And I was seeing the lines in his forehead. Like, he could move his eyebrows up and down. I'm like, I think Kenny just has a flawless skincare routine.
But
he's perfectly groomed. I feel
like the shine is always
it's hot. He's perfectly groomed. And I almost
started busting out the old skates. Because it's literally like an ice. It's an ice, rink up there.
I just told.
Looks great. I just was like, there's no way that's not Botox.
I told
the guy's
Evan
40.
I think that. But then I said, yeah, but look at how shredded he is, and he looks like he's 30.
Yeah, that is weird. I have to think it's roids. Love the guy, but it has to be.
How do you feel about Kenny?
Love Kenny.
You love Kenny?
Yeah, I mean, at first, because, you guys were having a torrid affair, I wasn't cool with it. But now, he's undeniable. He's fantastic. If the guy didn't have, like, stars and stripe tattoos and, like, weird nautical stars and, like, just the vibe of, like, being perfectly shredded all the time, he would, to me, be, like, top couple guys of all time on the show. You have to get past the cosmetic side of him. Like, all his stylings and everything are very strange.
It's very specific.
It's just out of touch. Like, I don't even know where that look is cool. Like,
I mean,
that's my only thing. It's like, I don't know where.
I've talked about this before. He is, he's a boy band manager. And
he's a boy band manager.
He loves to shop at Ross Dress for Less.
Oh.
He's a king, and
he is a king. I feel like if we restyled him, he'd be like really great.
Yeah. But I love that about Kenny. That's one of my favorite things about Kenny is that Kenny is Kenny.
He's stuck in 2004.
Yeah, Kenny is Kenny. But yeah, he couldn't I don't know, he was just like looking away the whole time and like, yeah man, like I never say this shit. And I was like, that's so.
But I fucking love you, bro.
But it's so romantic. But yeah, I think when I was watching it, I was a little bit like, is this shy part of Kenny? Because he seemed so nervous and shy to tell her that he was falling in love with her. And it didn't feel like to me like a guy who was nervous because he like didn't mean it. It felt to me like a guy who was like, I'm not used to saying this and I'm shaking.
Yeah.
And I would love a thick historical document on Kenny's past. We know nothing of Kenny's past. We know nothing about Kenny personally. We've never heard any sort of like personal story from him. Nothing. What is Kenny's deal? I need a autobiography.
The only thing we do know is that Kenny's probably had sex with 5,000 people.
I get that vibe from him, but also
not that he's like scumbag or anything. Just more that like it probably is very easy for him to make love to people. Like I just see it because he's so effortless with his coolness. I could see him not even trying. And then
he
just
seems
happens.
to me like he's been around.
He's experienced.
But I need an autobiography on Kenny. I really do. Because
he's got a lot of depth.
I don't know if he does.
But I feel like he does.
I feel like he does too, but I don't know if he does because we know nothing about him. And I'm asking ABC, can we know a little bit about Kenny?
Can we get a doc made?
Yeah, we need a Kenny doc afterwards.
Power.
They've never put out a documentary ever about the show, and the one documentary they put out is about Kenny. Kenny stars. Okay. Then we have the mob boss situation going on. James is desperately trying to make something work right now.
Yeah. Very strange little like, because it was like a one stoplight town, and so he made a stoplight on a wood board. Like, I love the guy. I love James. James, I love you. No.
It wasn't it.
What?
It wasn't it though.
What wasn't it?
The one, the plyboard stoplight.
What do you mean it wasn't? Oh, like it wasn't a hit?
No.
It felt like show and tell for third grade. Like it was just kind of like, bro, like where is the juice? Where's the personality, bro? I know it's in there. We know that it's in there for James. We see the moments. But it's like, don't approach love like a business meeting.
Yeah, just like how we were saying with Kenny, the shyness. I kind of get a little bit of that vibe from James. Like he's best friends with all the dudes and he's got a great personality. And when he's your friend, you get to know James. But on a romantic level, it is a little awkward.
I think what gets me about James is that like we forget that like James is just like most people.
Yeah.
Where the show gets a lot of people with more interesting personalities on them. That's like the whole thing.
Or, yeah,
it's like they want people good on camera. They want personality. They want people that can move and shake a needle, right?
Yeah.
Whereas James is just the guy who like got through, who's just like your guy, you know.
Yeah, he's guy, you know.
And so he even when
he's
you're like he's guy, you know. Even when he's talking to like Aaron and all these guys, he's always sitting there going like, yeah, totally, man. Yeah, that's a lot to handle. Absolutely. Like he's just very like agreeable and nice and just basic dude. So I could see why his like. He just doesn't have the like electricity that like someone, because a lot of these women are like super fun and they're like got personalities and they like say funny shit and they're like cool. Yeah. So I could just see like being like, okay, yeah, I love the stoplight, you know, but it's I don't know what to do with this. I was super
like, oh God, when they walked up and he had the plywood with or like bark or whatever with the stoplight on, and then the like Manhattan skyline, and he was like, look at us from two different places. I thought he said, and maybe I misheard this, that he said like we're having like an activity, and so I was like,
yeah, like I'm like
they're gonna like paint something, which I'm like I don't love, but like okay, they're actively doing something. They stood in front of the plywood. He explained the stoplight in the Manhattan skyline, and then they sat behind the plywood, and he said, so I don't know a lot about your town. Tell me about it. And I was like, I don't feel like this is an activity. And I feel like if you would have pulled her aside and been like, hey, I don't really know about your background at all. Like, let me pour some glasses of champagne and tell me about who you are. I really wanted to get to know you more. Yeah. Instead, and like him set up maybe like a romantic candles and champagne and be like, I want to know more about your background. But like the stoplight and like the Manhattan skyline, he's like, it's crazy how our two worlds have collided. And he kept saying it like that was the theme. And all I could picture was two poor like interns from the producers being told like they got 20 minutes and they need to find some paint and something to paint on. And they like found random like pieces of bark from the storm, but of course, and you know, painted on there. And it was like, but I don't understand. But well, so she kisses him. You can tell the judge isn't there, and she then goes on a long conversation where she speaks to her vulva about it not tingling, and that James is the nice, like, right guy, but like Blake makes her vagina dance. But ultimately, it did win for James because Blake did not show up. And then Tia was like, well, James pulled me aside with that stoplight and that Manhattan skyline.
But we don't know yet, though. You know, Blake might come back with some heat. Like, it didn't go well for him, but you never know. We still aren't at the ceremony yet.
I cannot, like, I'm going to guess. Maybe I'm wrong. But from what I gather from Blake's personality, he does not seem like the type of guy to me who's like down to humble himself and be like, hey, you know what? I'm really sorry that I was defensive, or like, I'm going to do this for you. And try. I feel like he's the guy who then holds ground and then like won't interact with Tia for the rest of the time and still expect to get her rose because he's like, I'm that hot. And maybe she'll still give it to him because she's that physically attracted to him. But I sure hope that she gives it to James.
Yeah, that guy kind of sucks. At first, I thought he was great. Like, he just seemed like a normal guy, just like good-looking dude, kind of stuck in like maybe like a 2007, 8, 2009 fashion thing with like the deep V and like a, you know, like a coin or something, whatever his necklace is. So it was definitely like, yeah, like half sleeve. You know, like that whole look is just very like...
It was a little triggering
high school-y,
for me.
You know?
Yeah.
So definitely kind of like, I just knew, but they're kind of meant for each other that way. Like Tia is very like, you know...
Yeah, well, she explained,
like, I love Nashville,
she explained to James that she like sticks out in her town.
Oh God,
because she's got
got
tattoos. I was like, oh no.
She's like, I'm a little crazy, you know. Like I got 2 tattoos and a nose ring, and like everybody looks at me and goes, "Whoa, where's the rock star going?" It's just like, hey,
but to give her
the
credit,
internet exists. But to give,
okay, but to give
sure,
her credit.
Pre-internet, yeah, the internet exists. Now no one's like looking at you going like, "What are them tattoos?" Signs of the devil. Someone cast the demon out of this woman before she corrupts our town. It's like, no, man, Instagram exists. You're not edgy, okay?
She probably is edgy in her town.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. Sure.
But, you know, I mean, they don't have a stoplight. There's like 50 people there. She probably does stand out. And she's on a reality TV show, so she probably really stands out.
She stands out for that.
Yeah.
But like, you have 3 tattoos. Like, stop with this. Like, yeah, I am like this. It's like, you know, okay, got it. I'm just playing. I'm having fun.
I'm just getting loose and just having fun. Oh my god. Okay, so we already talked about the tropical storm and that whole drama. So, oh, by the way, I don't know what the fuck. What was with the random makeout song that ABC bought? Can you explain this as someone who does music, like has been in music licensing? Like, what the fuck was that? Was that just a like why? Is that like they don't want to spend money on something, so like they get some random ass? Like, what was that? No,
what I guess, because it was just like, I don't remember the music.
I sang it to you right after. Remember, it was so romantic. I looked in your eyes and I sang the whole song to you. I remember it, and now I don't remember it. It was just like,
it was so corny,
and it was just like love. Oh, I'm trying to get the vibe. Love.
Hold on, I'm trying to get the vibe.
Trying to catch the vibe. Just I'm gonna be loving you tonight, and it's tonight I'm gonna be loving you tonight.
But that's way more bluesy. I think it was just a little bit more just kind of in that like, and we're gonna be together.
Yeah, you're right.
Forever. And forever's a long, long time. You know, it's just like horrific shit like that. It was just like, and you love me, and I love you. And when we both love each other, that means we both love each other. And it was just like, what the fuck was that? Like, it was so bad. And like, obviously a lot of the music on here is bad, but like, we both looked at each other and we're just like, what? Whoa.
It like hit me out of left field.
What that was?
It was because they also too, they never do that shit. They never just like drop
like a full lyric, like a whole song with like a chorus.
They have instrumental music playing the whole time. Like, so all of a sudden they'll like cut out any speaking and just have like big instrumental music over it. But like a proper song without seeing the artist.
That's like the producers. He promised his sister that like he would put her song on the show at some point.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, this one. No, this one. No, this one. No, no. No, this one's better. No, this one. I can't make a decision, Jeff. And he's like, send me. And he's like, this is all shit. I don't know what to do. And so it's just like, there's this one's called We Love Each Other. This one's called The Moonlight. And then this one's called Sunset Kisses. And it was just all like, and when I kiss you on the sunset, the sun is going down on our love. And if you give me one more chance, I will have another chance of winning back our sunset love. Or whatever. You know, honestly, that was better than what they had. But like, it was so bad. It was describing things we all know.
Yeah, it was. The lyrics were just describing.
It was self-explanatory.
Oh.
Yeah, it definitely was like a random sister thing. It had to be because the song was so bad. There's no way anyone chose it and thought this is good. It was like the owner, executive's sister or mom or someone was like, you got to throw this in. She's gonna kill me if I don't.
I've been promising her for years.
It's been how many seasons.
I told her last season of Bachelor in Paradise she'd have her moment, and because of the pandemic now it's been like 2 years. Like we have to throw it in. I think you're probably right because there's no other explanation.
It was so bad.
There's no other explanation. You'd think maybe at least like Lil Jon would be like, here, you can use one of my songs. I'm here. You might as well use it.
Yeah, like that song was paid $0 for. Yeah, that was just like a favor.
Like. Yeah, that was a favor song. That wasn't a money song. Well, after the storm, they come back disheveled. And they're told that they are going to have a daytime cocktail party, which, by the way, I would absolutely hate. When they said the word daytime cocktail party, my whole body shuddered. I'm like, I need the night to get to my truest form. You know this.
Yes.
When night hits, I am a different human. Yes. Like I'm in sweats. I mean, that's what the broad see me. It's like I'm in sweats all day, a little bit of makeup, shorts and platforms. When the night comes, that's when Jessica comes out. We get the full fashion. I feel zhuzhy. I feel sensual.
Yes.
Very different vibe for me.
Daytime is not
that for me.
Bit of a vampire.
I'm definitely a vampire. Yeah. I like to stay indoors all the time, unless I'm in Palm Springs.
Sure.
So the idea of a daytime cocktail party where I'm like, okay, I need to like convince someone to give me a rose and like woo them in the daylight is traumatizing for me.
Has the demon light gone away?
That's how I feel.
Yeah.
I'm like, if I can come out and there's ambiance then to me. I'm
there's
like,
vibe at night.
When
there's no vibe in the day.
When it's dark and there's twinkly lights, I can be sweaty and kind of gross, but you can't quite tell. And I can look at you and I can do a little like up down with my eyes. Ooh. And it's pretty, I can try to turn the sparkle on a little bit and like have a little bit of a zhuzh and like a little bit of,
taking a break from the podcast. We'll be right back.
A little bit of a playful moment that the sun does not allow me. Do you understand?
Dude, it's, you know, it's hot as shit too. So it's like 100 degrees. They're sweating and this is like, hey, I like you. It's just not
so
a vibe.
It's a little bit like more dim in the evening.
Yeah.
Or it's not dim, excuse me. It's a little bit more cool in the evening. There's probably a little bit of a breeze. It's dark. It's a vibe. You're having your little drinks and it's just a daytime cocktail party to convince to get a rose. Nightmare.
Love a daytime cocktail party.
Love a daytime cocktail party when I'm not trying to be romantic with someone. If I'm with my friends, great time, fun. But trying to get my romance on, daytime cocktail party,
blah. One quick thing I wanted to say that I forgot to mention about the storm.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is my favorite thing that Aaron has ever done or if the storm wasn't that serious. But in the hustle and bustle of everyone leaving, I caught one quick screen grab of him with a cocktail while exiting. Like he had a drink in his hand while he was like being rushed away for his life. So I was like, either everyone knew like this thing's kind of bullshit and he just kind of was like, let me just grab my drink. I'm not going to leave it here. Or he was just like, one more road soda, man.
Need my road soda. Gonna be in the van. Have no idea how long we're gonna be in this van, dude. Yeah. Like this van ride could last forever if we get caught in the thick of this shit, man. I need my road soda.
He's like, I don't even think about miles. I think about how many road sodas like it'll take me to get somewhere. So this is like a 2 to 3 road soda fucking journey. Like I need at least one to get me the third of the way.
No, I will tell you, Aaron is, so he's done some shitty stuff on the beach that I do not agree with. But like Bekah and I have said numerous times, I can't help but love that man.
Love him.
I want to hang out with him so badly.
I want him on the show so bad.
I want Aaron on the show so bad. And you know, him coming for Ivan is upsetting for me because Ivan is my love. But he is so hectic. He is the definition. You know when they have those charts that say like neutral good, or like and then chaotic good, chaotic neutral. Like he is chaotic. Sometimes he's chaotic good, and sometimes he's chaotic evil. I think he really means to be chaotic good, but the chaos level is through the roof with Aaron, and he is always chaotic, and he brings chaos.
But he's
and
consistent.
I feel like he'd be an exciting person to hang out with at a club because you know that it's going to be hectic.
Well, he's consistent about what bothers him.
True.
It's don't try to steal my girl and don't lie. Like he wants honesty because he's honest. But do not fucking disrespect me. Do not fucking lie to me. Okay. And don't fucking steal my girl. Like if you don't steal his girl or lie to him, he's cool. It's just like he doesn't like. My favorite thing about him is that like he still like can't believe when people don't tell the truth. He's just like, what?
His brain explodes.
My mom told me that the truth will set you free. You know what I mean? It's very just like, dude, have you not realized people are manipulative? Like, come on. He's like, every time it happens to him, it's like it's like when you're a kid and you realize that like
Santa
things
isn't real.
aren't fair. Or, Santa isn't real. It's just like, what? It's like, bro, how do you not know that these things are going to happen?
No, he's truly shaken every time he feels like he is lied to.
Yes.
But I mean, so the Aaron's, I know, and that's the thing. It's like as much as like he does shit that I'm like, Aaron, what the fuck? That was not okay. I can't help it.
He's got one of the best personalities in the show by a mile.
I also feel like, and I told you this yesterday, when he'll look in the camera and do certain facial expressions, it does remind me of you. And so I think I also have a soft side because he'll do these facial expressions. I'm like, that is such an Evan look. Like when Aaron does the thing. God, go ahead. Aaron does the thing where like he'll like when he's thinking about something, he opens his mouth and kind of does like, and kind of like drifts, and you see his like mind drift, but his mouth's always open. He's just be like, and that's the most you thing ever.
My favorite thing he did was when he described the two guys coming up the beach, and he's like,
my God.
they're like two hot Christmas hams.
Oh, Ed's thighs.
Yeah, like no, they were buff. Like these guys are so buff.
No, but he was talking about Ed's thighs.
Okay, so he's like his thighs are like two Christmas hams that could feed a whole village of cannibals. Like, what an amazing. Everyone else is just like, oh, I like them, or I remember them from their season.
It was
like, this is so funny. Him just being like,
no, when they first ran up, he literally, when they first ran up, he was like, oh shit. He's like, they're looking good. They're shredded.
He's like, I think they're pretty oiled up too.
Yeah, he's like, I think they're pretty oiled up. They're looking real good, shredded, running on the beach. Like, he's truly feeling threatened. Facts. But he'll like tell facts. They are shredded facts.
I love that guy. He's definitely my number one in regards to like the guy I'd want to hang out with. I want to have a drink. I want to get drunk with that guy. He's great.
Mm-hmm. Well, he is pursuing Chelsea. He pulls Chelsea aside and he sets up a runway show for Chelsea.
Loved it.
It feels like an actual audition a little bit to me. Thought it was so fun.
It was just easy.
See, now that's a thing where I feel like Aaron and James are always together and they're best friends. Mm-hmm. In fact, they probably need to spend less time together and talk to the women because they're just always alone together. But like what Aaron needs to get from James is that he needs to get how James is a little more like calm, cool, and collected, where he'll be like, let's pause for a second. And then what James needs to get from Aaron is that like how funny and like, because Aaron's kind of magical. Like, I can't lie to
hilarious,
you.
Yeah.
So, like, the James date with, like, the stoplight and the Manhattan skyline, it's like what Aaron did with setting up a little runway with 2 sticks takes it's like less time, less of an ordeal, funny memory, and fun thing to, like, do. And you'll always, like, it's a fun sequence. Aaron knows his moment on screen. Aaron's snatching every moment he can fucking get on screen. He loves an interview booth. He loves his moments. And he's like, oh, me doing this catwalk is going to be a GIF floating everywhere for all the memes. He knows. He knows what he's doing.
I loved it too because it was fun. And I think a lot of guys like miss this. It's like, not everything has to be so serious. It's like,
no.
Girl, want to laugh. Like, this is a fun show. This isn't like a serious show, like in a lot of ways. So it's like,
we all want to laugh.
Yeah, and every time you see an interview of a girl talking about a guy, about like, what do you like in a guy? It's always makes me laugh.
Yeah.
You never see one that doesn't say that.
No.
I don't think I've ever seen an ITM where it was just like, super serious, has his job to get. It's always like makes me laugh. It's one of like the top 3 things.
We all want to laugh.
So I love the move.
Every person on the planet wants to get a smile on their face. So it was a good move. Now we hear in the background Ivan saying that he doesn't think that Aaron is really into her. I don't know if you caught that.
I did.
So already you're going, uh-oh. What's
just
going on?
Like a rose grab, basically.
Yeah, but Ivan's saying that about Aaron.
Which is weird.
Why
do you have an opinion about them?
Well.
No, I'm saying like, previous to us knowing anything, you're like, well, that's kind of a weird comment.
Yeah, it was kind of like, oh, like,
whoa.
Ivan's just kind of been chilling and hasn't really been talking to Chelsea. Well, by the way, Chelsea also says that we have confirmation. She said that she was waiting for her date to end with DeMar so that she could see Aaron. So that was a big confirmation it felt just for like Aaron.
They're ready to go.
Yes. Then we have my most favorite moment of the entire episode, which is when Aaron went up to the bar and ordered a white wine, which Evan knows is my like biggest turn on. When I see like a man order a white wine, I'm obsessed. I love it so much. So he orders a white wine, walks over to Chelsea, and then you see a moment of Aaron walking up to James, and James goes, "Is that a white wine?"
Yeah, because Ivan got a white wine too, and then James probably wants a white wine. So all the guys are just like, "White wine, please."
And then there's the idea of like Ivan be like, "White wine." Aaron walking up to James, is that a white wine?
Is that a white wine?
They're all sharing from the bottle together.
Yeah.
So we're having this communal bottle of white wine, which, Aaron's probably like, we're brothers. This is the communal bottle of white wine.
Hey, brother, pass me the shard.
And now Ivan, pass me that Pinot Gris.
Yeah.
And now Ivan is going to go and stab me in the back and talk to my girl.
We shared the Gris.
We shared the Pinot Gris.
We're Gris kings, and you fucking Deny the Grease King code, man.
We're Sauvignon Blanc boys, my guy. And you denied that code.
Savvy sisters.
But Ivan, we see him then talking to Chelsea, and Chelsea's kind of like, seems like she's friend zoning him.
Yeah, because she was like, "You're like such a bro to me," or something. She said something like, "You're my homie."
And then she was like, "No, I don't mean to like friend zone you." We're all going, "What's happening?" Because then they start kissing.
Because it seemed like out of the clouds.
Completely. Now it's all making sense.
Yeah, it almost seemed embarrassing when Ivan went to go pull her. I was kind of like, "Ooh, bro."
I was like, "No, Ivan, don't."
Your boy just made out with her, and like.
Well, and she's also then like saying that like,
she likes him and the whole thing, and it's like, and then she's like, "Well, hey, buddy," and I was like, "Oh, okay, clearly like." No. And then out of the clouds, they're macking hard. I was like, "Wait, what just happened?"
Yeah, what is going on? Of course, Aaron spots it, and it is,
like, dude.
It is
12 o'clock.
It is meltdown city, because this has happened to Aaron every single episode. His girl gets snatched by another guy and makes out in front of Aaron every single episode. Tammy,
dude,
Bekah,
you can't catch a break.
Tammy, Bekah, Chelsea. The only woman who did not make out with another man in front of him was Serena C, who he rejected. So maybe you should have a chat with Serena C, who's really there for you, you know? Just a thought.
Brutal, dude. Like, Ivan's just like, real quick. And I was like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, wait a second, what? How's that even possible?
And
how do you go from friend zone to making out in 13 seconds?
So he's like legit having like full meltdown. He's saying all of a sudden, he's just like, he lied to me. And I'm going, lied to you? Like, Aaron, this is the thing about Aaron, and this is a key point about Aaron. He has every right to feel frustrated. He feels like him and Ivan had maybe a conversation, a moment together where he was like, Ivan didn't talk to me about the fact that he was interested in Chelsea. Guess what? Ivan doesn't owe you anything. Yeah. But I understand that then you feel a little bit bummed out. The extreme that Aaron goes to, where it's always just like, they lied and betrayed me. And you're like, well, did he really lie to you? Or did he not tell you all of his inner thoughts?
No, he's saying the lie was that he didn't want to steal anyone's rose.
Right. And the thing is, okay, maybe he doesn't want to steal anyone's rose, but maybe he doesn't feel like he's stealing anyone's rose if he feels like he's got a real connection with Chelsea. That's also such a stretch.
That's like such a stretch to make that the lie. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like that. It was a little bit like, hey, Aaron,
it's all bullshit.
Let's not be 10.
It's the same thing where he's just like, Thomas is a liar. And you're like, what did he lie about? It's just like, well, he wanted to be the Bachelor. And you're like, well, but is that a lie? Like,
it's like anecdotal. It's like saying, you're my best friend, and then hanging out with someone else on your birthday. Well, that's not what best friends do. They hang out with their best friends on their birthday. You lied to me. You know, it's kind of like this, yes, like, well, exactly. You just made up this kind of rule that
and it's like, hey, guess what? Probably Thomas, who's clearly not your friend, Ivan, who didn't know you until Bachelor in Paradise. They weren't even on the same season. They don't owe you an allegiance or explanation for what they're thinking. But Aaron has this vibe where he's just like, I'm owed all truths. And if there's anything that goes against every vulnerability of you telling me, I will consider it a lie.
Would have been a lie if he would have been like, I'm not going to go after Chelsea.
Correct.
And then he went after Chelsea. But Correct. It's just like,
if he would have
I'm not trying to steal anyone's rose is not the same thing as not, you know, it's just like, okay.
It's not a lie. He's not lying to you. He didn't communicate with you that he has feelings for Chelsea.
And also,
but why? I mean, but he doesn't need to.
And also, you didn't know that he got the rose.
What do you mean?
Ivan didn't know he had it locked in with her because she had been on
a date with Damar.
So like,
Chelsea very good point.
If anything, Chelsea is the most open person on the entire.
Yes. Chelsea is dating. She's dating like Bachelorette style. She's dating numerous guys right now.
Everyone else is locked in. We were talking about this. I was thinking like, dude, who does Ivan have? Like,
minus like Natasha is still probably more up. Like,
sure, but she's not talking to anybody else. She's just with. It's like she even seems more locked down as opposed to Chelsea's dating a couple guys. But Chelsea's
dating numerous men. Yeah, that's a very good point. Very good point.
I do see Aaron's point in that, like, yo, I was just talking to you and you just saw me go on a date with her and you just saw me make out. You could have just, like, Ivan could have just been like, hey man, I'll be honest with you. I've been I want to like talk to Chelsea. Like, just if he would have done that and been like, hey man, but the fact that he did it kind of like sly and then made out with her, it was like a weird move.
I agree that if I was Aaron, I would have been thrown off. I probably would have been irritated. But it's a little one of those things where it's like, again, I have no idea how close Ivan and Aaron are. We happened to see them just speaking. Other than that, I've never seen Ivan and Aaron like hanging. So it's like Ivan probably doesn't have a close relationship with him. They probably were like casually talking about something. Like, are you going to divulge? I probably wouldn't say anything. I'd be like, they're not in a relationship. It's not like Ivan's going after like Marissa, who's like in a solid relationship. Like, I should probably say something to Riley. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I get it. So I get why Aaron's frustrated, but the absolute explosion. I'm also very defensive of Ivan, like I said, because Ivan is Ivan. But the explosion was out of control, calling him like a little bitch boy and just like freaking out.
And he walks over to me, he's like, get over here.
Oh, and I
was like, bro, just be like, hey, can I talk to you for a minute?
And that was my most favorite part. When Aaron stands like, 10 feet away from him and is like, come over here to Ivan. When Ivan turns around and goes, no, I'm not going. I was trembling with joy because I was telling you on Ivan's season, he was never involved in any drama. Whenever there was drama, Ivan was kind of quietly ingesting it in the background. Always low key, never in the drama. We've never seen Ivan just be like, no, fuck you. And so I was just like, hell yes. Aaron, just come over here. And Ivan's like, turns around, and I forget how tall Ivan is too. Ivan turns around, Ivan's just like, nah. And I'm just
it was like he was really calm too, which would probably infuriate Aaron even more.
So
he was
then
like
Aaron
sweating through his shirt.
Aaron's sweating and he's just come over here and Ivan's just not. And then he's literally like to the point where then like it makes Aaron have to go over to Ivan. And he's just like, no, I'm not going over there. And so then Aaron has to kind of like puppy dog over and be like, you fucking lied to me, bro. Da, 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 da. And then Ivan right away just goes nose to nose with them. And he's just like, no. And just shutting it down. It's just like, no, you can't talk to me like that.
But he also was like getting in his face. He's like, do something. Like it was like,
I mean, yeah, nothing's going to happen. Like nothing's going to happen. But I was.
And then you see a glimpse of Riley getting mad at Aaron.
Well, yeah, because.
Aaron's like, why are you yelling?
Yeah, because Aaron is exploding and screaming.
I saw it coming from a mile away.
And Ivan and Riley, they were on the same season and they were both like Riley got into top 5, I think, or top 4, and Ivan was like top 3. Like they were together for a long time. They're friends. And so it's like, oh, you're going to come after Ivan? No. Oh, it's going to be explosive next week.
I'll
like
just tell you
truly
this.
Explosive.
I just want Aaron to stay around. I love Ivan, nice guy and everything, but he's a bit of a fly on the wall. Like he doesn't have a ton to offer when it comes to the show, personality wise.
How?
I mean,
truly dare
he's a
you.
great guy.
I know we're not seeing anything from him.
He doesn't do anything. There's no electricity there. Aaron is funny. Even just his recaps of like, he's like, facts. This. Is he a bitch boy? Facts. Like, he's just at least more entertaining where it's like, Ivan to me is just kind of like, take it or leave it a little bit. So like, I wish him the best in his life, but at the same time, I really hope Aaron doesn't get kicked off for this.
Aaron is entertaining, but Ivan is forever.
Yeah, Aaron's almost been in 4 fucking fist fights. Like, let's go. Don't get rid of that person.
Well, but the thing is, now there's only 2 episodes left, and it's going to be a 3-hour one next week, and then the finale the following.
Also, bitch boy, you know?
Oh my god!
What a classic schoolyard diss.
I mean,
that's like one level up from Butthead. You're just a bitch boy. Bitch boy.
I mean, I couldn't even believe it. Is that actually what he said? I feel like I remember bitch boy. I'm just like, dude.
Like, what is that? I love it.
Well, next week looks absolutely wild. I mean, we see the whole Ivan moment, which is just like, I need to know. Do you know that the tea is so piping hot that Chelsea posted a screenshot that her mom texted her. And she goes, wait, what happened in the hotel?
Oh,
like the
so
mom
she hadn't
wants
even told
to know.
her mom.
No, nobody knows. And so the mom is just like, hold on a second, what happened?
Whoa.
Like everyone is dying to know what the hotel situation was about. My guess, I'm just gonna throw this out there. I bet that he just like maybe went to her room.
Yeah.
Maybe she was rooming with another girl who was even maybe a friend of Ivan's. He went to the room to have a couple glasses of Shard. And they started talking, and they've maybe known each other before, and it got flirtatious, and maybe then they had a moment where they like opened up to each other and kissed. Like that's my guess. I don't think that like anything maybe went down more than that.
So then, do you think? Oh, because here's another conspiracy theory. do you think that when she called him bro and didn't try to friend zone him was a little bit of covering up of the tracks?
Probably.
Yeah, almost like a little bit like she overstated the like, hey bro.
Yeah. Because
to
like
make
because
to like get them off our tail.
Because they all know that they'll get busted if they do that, even though, which kills me, because I'm just like, bring it on. Like, not bring it on for them getting busted. Bring on like these moments. Why do people get mad at these moments? Like, come on. Just because it's off camera, it's not allowed. Please. Amazing. It's all part of the experience.
Yes.
It should be part of the process and the system.
But there are rules.
I know,
it's and the rules stupid. Bring structure, right? If it's free for all, then there's no like.
But also no, because we need the rule break.
But there has to be a rule to break a rule.
Yeah, I guess.
If there was no rules, there'd be no like edginess.
That's true.
But the fact that there are rules that can be broken, that is what makes it exciting.
That's very true. Well, we also see Kenny saying that maybe he doesn't think that him and Mari's vibe is as passionate, which, ooh.
And also we saw Marissa and Riley crying.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Like him leaving or something.
I don't know. And then we saw Thomas crying, which, by the way, the whole Thomas-Bekah relationship.
It kind of just on the...
We're not seeing it. They're not showing it at all. And every once in a while, you just see them literally, like, in the fetal position embracing each other. They're, like, all over each other. They've also been... And I don't know if this is like then a sign that they're together or they're not together now, because you'd think that if they were together now, they'd be a little more like low key on social media with each other to try to hide it.
Yeah.
Maybe they're just friends now. They have been all over each other's social media. Like, she's posting photos of her and him from the show and him like writing really cute things. Like, it's very beyond flirty back and forth with the two of them publicly right now.
But you can't do that before the show's over.
That's why I'm a little confused.
Oh, weird.
I'm just like, maybe they're not together and they're just friends and they're trying to make it seem like they're together. But I don't know. We're not seeing a lot of their relationship, and I don't know. Interesting.
Very interesting.
And yeah, it looks like everyone's breaking down, because now we're coming to the close where you have to either propose or you get off the island.
Yes. And people are going to start getting irritated. Like, Marissa might be like, hey, how serious are we? Or Riley's like, how serious are we? People are going to start feeling the tension.
The crack, you start to see the cracks, because, again, people are having to propose. Imagine.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Imagine.
I mean, I just would be like, no, but can we just talk off the show so we can have...
There are some people that do that.
Yeah,
but
you have to.
But you know what I feel like is, I always feel bad. The people who go like, hey, I'm not ready to get engaged, but like, can we leave together?
Right.
The public always like shades them. And I'm just like, why?
Because they're not playing by the rules.
They're being honest.
It's the rules.
Oh, God. It's like, so you prefer them to get engaged and then break up a week later because they're not ready to be together.
They don't care about their souls. They're just there for entertainment.
I mean, clearly that's heavy. Well, on that note, thank you for I
love you.
I love you too. Thank you for being my partner
Anytime.
in life and on the podcast today. Would you like to plug your show?
The Chatty Bros?
Yeah.
So, if you don't know, every other week, me and Grayston get together and we do a much looser shit show version of this show. Mm-hmm. And we talk about nonsense. Mm-hmm. There's no structure. We dip in and out of Bachelor, Bachelorette, Paradise, all that good stuff. And we talk about just meaningless things, sometimes meaningful. It is an absolute shit show. So if you want to come over and listen to just the crazy version, please come over. We'd love to have you.
That will not be this Friday, but
next week.
Following, yeah, and then every
other week.
Yep. Love the bros.
We're here for you.
And we love the broads. And Bekah will be back next week. Make sure to check out our Tuesday episode. We have a great guest that you all know and love. You'll be very excited. That will be Tuesday, and then Thursday for a recap per usual, and then Bros episode on Friday. So we love you, broads. If you enjoy it, please rate and review this podcast. We haven't said that in a long time on iTunes. That means so much to us. If you enjoy it, 5 stars. It means everything.
Comment, like, and subscribe too.
Comment, like, and subscribe. Look at, wow, oh my God, right? my YouTube king.
Let's go, subscribe.
Smash that subscribe button.
Smash.
All right, broads, we'll chat soon.
Chat soon.